Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at the news from our city, state, and country. We take a look at your comments, your ideas, your suggestions, your adventures, and we collect all this information and put it to good use as a community of English-speaking locals. Not bad. Today is Tuesday, January 16. It is a pleasure to see you all as we have fun and interesting news to share. But first, as always, if you're watching live for the first time, please write the word new in your comment and we'll give you a nice little welcome. If you have something really important that you wish to share with everyone, it helps if you add a capital letter Q, like Albert has done here. Hola, Paco, in cluster, a perfect day for machaca at Cuates y Cuetes. So Gouda Gabor last night, fantastic show with Mark Hartman. You should go. Well, as it turns out, I was there too. So we will talk about this wonderful show that we enjoyed last night at Nacho Daddy later on. But first, we are going to take a look at the news, starting with SEAPAL. SEAPAL is announcing a number of shutdowns in water service for today to make improvements to their clean water network, and the service will be interrupted until late at night or tomorrow morning. And there's a number of colonias here. There are a number of colonias in Coapinole and surrounding areas. These colonias are going to have their service reestablished at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And these other colonias are going to have their service reestablished tomorrow at 1 a.m. So keep your eyes open. If any of your colonias are mentioned in these notices, just make sure that you have enough water stored for consumption. COVID-19 is on the rise, COVID-19 is on the rise in Mexico, and some hospitals are reporting a patient increase, including 13 hospitals nationwide that are now at full capacity. Only one hospital in Jalisco is mentioned here, so there's no real reason for anybody to be majorly concerned. But as you know, there are several vaccination options available for all of us right now. And ultimately, common sense when you are in enclosed spaces will help prevent catching any seasonal disease. And we have a complainer article today. Today's complainer article is brought to us by Vallarta Independiente, and it has to do with the Malecon, and it features the usual complaints. It smells like piss. It's broken down. You know the drill. So there's not much new to share here. But, you know, we always hope that things will get fixed when we see things like this. And now let's take a look at the weather just to see what's going on out there. And according to Snarky Weather, Snarky Weather is happy. Your weather is impressive. You must be very proud. Well, I will say we've had wonderful weather in the last few days. Right now it's 23 degrees and humidity is at 63%. Our weather forecast says it's going to be a humid day with mostly cloudy skies with a high of 27 and a low of 16. Tomorrow, Wednesday, mostly cloudy skies throughout the day with a high of 27 and a low of 17. And then Thursday will be a mostly cloudy skies throughout the day kind of day with a high of 27 and a low of 18. And that is what our weather has to share. That is what the weather has to announce today. I have good news. Banderas News reports that the Malon Sculpture tours led by Gary Thompson are back every Tuesday. Now, any English-speaking local who has not yet taken advantage of these awesome free tours is bound to learn quite a bit from this experience. Keep in mind that Gary Thompson, owner of Galería Pacifico, has been around for a very long time. He is one of the first art connoisseurs to open an art gallery here in Puerto Vallarta. So his experience in Vallarta goes way, way, way back. Gary has been accumulating and sharing information about the Malon sculptures for many, many years. So he is completely knowledgeable in this. So doing the Malon Sculpture tour is a great activity for anybody that lives here, because then we get to tell that story to our friends that visit. And of course, if you are in Puerto Vallarta as a tourist or a visitor, you can't go wrong with this tour. It is highly recommended. We also learned from Banderas News that tickets for the upcoming A Drav event are now available. This competition, which involves several straight men being transformed into lovely ladies by lovely local drag queens, is very popular. It takes place at Teatro Vallarta and it benefits a local women's shelter. For more information, check out the article in the show notes after the broadcast. And more good news. There are now more details available about the upcoming Carnaval. A website has been revealed, which I will share in the show notes as well. And according to reports, related events will take place February 22nd and 23rd, beauty pageants and crownings. And then the parade will be on the 24th at 6 p.m. So if you're interested in this event, you'll have the information available in the show notes. And before we get into the chit chat section, I want to talk a little bit about this great show that we enjoyed last night with Gouda Gabor singing and telling great stories, and Mark Hartman on the piano, and a lovely lady whose name I am afraid I didn't catch, playing the double bass. What a great show at Nacho Daddy last night. There are all kinds of good things, and there are some shady things that I'd like to share. Sorry for the sniffling. For starters, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I love Gouda. Gouda's a good friend of mine. That's the disclaimer. But Gouda, as an entertainer, there are several things that I love about Gouda, and I'm going to mention them right now. First of all, every show is different. I've seen Gouda many times because she's a good friend of mine. Richard has been coming to Puerto Vallarta for many years. We were introduced to one another by my dear friend Paul Chris from Hotel Mercurio, and we've hit it off ever since. I love the fact that Gouda goes and prepares a completely brand new show every time that she performs, which means that she takes risks. Of course, last night, some segments were better received than others, but that's the nature of the beast. You know, you have to have highs and lows on these performances. Of course, anything that Mark Hartman touches, as far as music is concerned, is heavenly. Mark is such a seasoned piano player, accompanies musical theater director, you name it. Anything that Mark Hartman is involved with whenever he is in town is bound to be wonderful. There were a couple of instances on the performance in which the piano and the bass player kind of had a little bit of a struggle keeping the same tempo, but I'd rather have that in a live performance than going to a performance where there's a singer and there are a bunch of backup tracks. And another thing that I loved about last night, Gouda, I will not take credit for this, but one of the things that I mentioned to Gouda when she reached out to me at the very beginning of her run has to do with the fact that Nacho Daddy traditionally uses a side stage to seat their patrons for performances upstairs. Whereas the space was designed to have a wide main stage around which people sit. And I mentioned to Gouda at the time, Gouda, you will look better in the center stage. And your musicians are going to be more comfortable spread out. You'll be able to move. You'll be able to banter. And Gouda took my advice. And indeed, the room looked absolutely wonderful with the use of the center stage. I had a couple of moments to have a conversation about that with Tammy, who runs Nacho Daddy, and Tammy agreed with me that it looks much better to use the space as it was intended to, although Tammy mentioned that it is the artists that sometimes would rather have the room set up on the side stage because they are able to seat approximately 20 additional people. So if some artists are concerned about their income and they want to pack people a little cozier, shall we say, power to them. Personally, of course, I'm not the one on stage. I'm not the one that is counting every ticket that is sold. But as an attendee, I very much enjoyed the room the way it was laid out last night. And of course, Gouda made a wonderful announcement. Seth Sykes and Seth Sykes and Nicholas King, the two new belters, are coming back to Puerto Vallarta in February. They're coming back to Nacho Daddy. And I am sure that is going to be a performance that everybody will want to go to. These two singers are really, really seasoned, and we'll talk about them later on. But there was only one unfortunate thing that happened last night, and it didn't happen to me, but I heard from a number of people, no more than 5, that some of the audience members were a little uncomfortably unpleasant in the process of getting seated and this, that, and the other. And even Tammy, and I have to bow in Tammy's general direction because she deals with unruly crowds on a regular basis. But Tammy looked at me at some point and said, tonight only one person yelled at me. And I felt so sad that sometimes we behave badly when we want to get places and when we want to sit down and we want to do this and that and the other. If you are the kind of person that behaves badly, just take a step back and think about the fact that the people that are serving you, whether it is your waiter or the venue owner or this, that, and the other, they are just trying to do their best to take good care of you. And, Albert doesn't exaggerate. So when Albert says some people were assholes, it was nuts. I totally believe that. So if you are an asshole, don't be. Or if you are an asshole, just stay at home. Because when you are an asshole and you behave like one in public, you encourage other people to behave that way. But who am I to tell you this? All I'm going to say is I'm going to hold on to the good stuff and say, go watch Gouda perform with Mark Hartman. And Amy Armstrong did a guest appearance as well. And Amy is performing with Mark Hartman as well. They have never performed together until this season. I can't believe that, having been in Puerto Vallarta or having come to Puerto Vallarta for so many years, the fact that they're finally having their show together is really amazing. So I'm glad to see that things are happening at Nacho Daddy. I wish for Nacho Daddy to continue to up their own ante, to continue to impress visitors and guests that enjoy the stage there. And once again, for people that behaved badly, go take a purge and stay at home and sit on the toilet or something, whatever. Chit chat time. Let's see what you guys are up to this morning. Take a purge. Good morning to everyone that is saying good morning. Thank you very much for that. Pudding pam pum pum. Let's see what we have. Oh, thank you. Somebody's making me blush, and I'm not gonna say who, but never mind. Let's see what we have. The Malecon tour is great, and Kevin from Collectica gives great info on the Huichol story. This is true. Kevin Simpson from Galeria Collectica also joins the sculpture tour, and he will tell you all kinds of fascinating things about the Huichol engravings, if I'm calling them correctly, that are the figures that are on the pavement itself. So it is absolutely wonderful. Here's another love note for Gary Thompson. Gary is a trooper. His sculpture tour is fabulous. I need to get to his newly located gallery. Again, I've known Gary Thompson for many, many years. He's a walking encyclopedia. Let's see. North Paradise, South Paradise. I love it when you all call Puerto Vallarta paradise. I call Puerto Vallarta home, but I don't call it paradise. But that's just me. Let's see. Betsy Ann says Tammy is the best. Being rude to her is being mean-spirited. Being rude to anyone is being mean-spirited. And it is unfortunate, when sometimes people are trying to get in to a venue or hop on a plane, or I don't know. I'd rather not dwell on that. Let's see. It was the privileged few who seem to feel they are better than everyone else. No comment. No comment. Kathleen says it is so unfair for the staff to the staff for assholes to behave that way. I find it very embarrassing to be with one of those people. One in particular, I just refuse to go out with anymore. It works for me. Kathleen, I hear you. And I've had friends that behave badly in public, and I also felt that way. I felt awkward in hanging out with them or being seen with them in public. To me, that works more effectively than trying to chastise the assholes. Or trying to correct behavior on people that I don't even know. But yes, if your friend gets ugly in public, then do you want to hang out with that person? I know it's complicated, and I know it's not a simple thing. Let's see what else. Oh, Carmen, I hope you had a great secret dinner this past week. Carmen mentions the Malecon has never been so neglected since I have been living here. Also, no more tourist police or any kind of police around to be seen, but lots of garbage. Yeah, I hear you, Carmen. It is unfortunate that the Malecon and a lot of public spaces in the city are being egregiously neglected in this administration. We have to find out what the new administration is going to bring to the table. And hopefully better things will come to Puerto Vallarta with the administration that will take over this coming year. And this is what we have for today. Thank you very much for joining me for another Coffee and Headlines Day. Yesterday, I had a wonderful walking tour that I filmed with a special guest, and we are going to feature that on Friday. I'm going to be editing the walking tour between now and then. And between now and then, I hope you have an amazing week. I hope you have a great time here in Puerto Vallarta doing whatever it is that you do. And if you are counting days, trust me, you're going to love it once you're here, because it is really, really wonderful. Except for the Malecon, which looks a little ugly, but what are you going to do? Hey, have a good day, and I'll see you again sometime soon.